All right, time has come. My favorite segments here. I'm putting Reggie on the hot seat, covering all the latest hot topics in Minnesota sports. First one up, the Rams found a way to pay Aaron Donald and keep him around for a handful of more years, making him the highest paid defensive player in the league at nearly $32 million a year. What does it mean as Donald's place in NFL history as one of the best defensive players the league has ever seen? And I'm just curious, what do you think like the next best defensive player is in the league? Is there anybody close to Aaron Donald nipping at his heels for the best defender in the NFL right now?
So to answer your first question, to put Donald up against some of the all-time greats, I think he's up there. I think he's up there probably top 3. You know, you put Lawrence Taylor in there. You know, you put Bruce in there. I mean, Bruce is like, come on. Like,
no doubt. Oh, no doubt. Nobody's going to argue with that. Reggie White, yeah.
But then, but listen, when you start to talk about guys like Reggie White and, you know, some of these other players that you may put top 5, like on that list, Deion Sanders and, you know, things like that, I think there's a case to be made that Aaron Donald is right up there with them. Like, if you're putting together top 3, maybe you go Lawrence Taylor, you go Bruce, and then you go Aaron Donald. And my man's only been in the league for 8 years, but he's already approaching 100 career sacks as a defensive tackle. Game disruptor. Like, the dude is one of the best players that we've ever seen. And so, look, I have to be real about this. I've seen a lot of football. I've seen a lot of highlights, but I did not see Lawrence Taylor play. I saw a little bit of Bruce playing. I didn't really see a whole lot of Reggie White playing. And these guys were like legit game wreckers. Warren Sapp is a Hall of Famer. I think Aaron Donald is better than Warren Sapp.
No doubt.
And Warren Sapp is one of the greatest at his position. Like, before Aaron Donald, people were talking about Warren Sapp in this way because he was a big guy, a D tackle, like wrecking games, sacking guys, like at his position, athletic guy, at as big as he was. Like, but like this dude, Aaron Donald, is like almost 300 pounds. And he's all muscle. Like, we've never seen a dude chiseled like that at his size before. Like, it's kind of nuts. Like, I've been 300 plus pounds, and I didn't look nothing like that when I was that size. Like, okay, like, let's be clear on that. This dude is like chiseled all muscle, and he really seriously considered retirement. And they ponied up, by the way, worth every penny, if not more than what they gave him. And I know he said it wasn't about the money, but the money don't hurt, bruh. You know, like, it doesn't hurt. So now when you talk about best defensive players not named Aaron Donald, I think you look at guys like Myles Garrett. 58 and a half sacks. He's only 26 years old. Like,
that's wild. That's absolutely
good night.
Wild.
Good night. And then you talk about JJ Watt, right? You talk about Von Miller. You know, these guys are some of the greatest as well. But I would probably put TJ Watt right there. If you're going Myles Garrett 1A, TJ Watt is 1B.
I think when you look at Aaron Donald, if he were to retire today, he may have a case for the Hall of Fame. But the longevity, if you're going to get, I mean, it's the projection that we may get another 4 or 5 premium years out of Aaron Donald. And at this pace, I think you're right. He's got to go down as one of the top 3 defensive players. Now, a guy that plays at the line of scrimmage next to the ball every single play is going to be able to impact the game. We hear it all the time. The game's won and lost in the trenches for a reason. That's why some of the best Hall of Famers that you just mentioned are all usually defensive linemen or at least front 7 kind of guys.
TJ Watt is 27. He'll be 28 in October.
Okay, so he's a little up there.
He has 72 career sacks already.
Wow.
All right. Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is a defensive tackle. He just turned 31 a couple weeks ago. He has 98 career sacks, and that's not counting the ones that he has in the playoffs as well, because we know that total will balloon. And, you know, when it comes to defensive linemen, when you talk about the Hall of Fame, that 100 sack mark is usually like that number that pretty much gets them to Canton. Once they get to that 100,
triple digits. Yep.
Yeah. Aaron Donald is at 98. He'll undoubtedly get to 100 this season. But like you said, if he were to retire today, he would be a first ballot Hall of Famer. 8-time Pro Bowler, 7-time All-Pro, 2014 Defensive Rookie of the Year, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, and he's on the all 2010s team as well. Like that's first ballot status right there. Like if he retired, if he gave it up right now and was just like, the heck with the money, I'm done, I want to go back to Pittsburgh and enjoy my life with my family, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
And to think 12 people passed on him, including the Vikings.
Wow.
With Anthony Barr. Here's a couple names that was drafted before Aaron Donald came out of Pitt, drafted 13. Greg Robinson, number 2 overall to the Rams. Huge bust. Blake Bortles, Sammy Watkins, Khalil Mack, Jake Matthews, Mike Evans, very solid. Justin Gilbert, Eric Ebron, Taylor Lewan, Odell Beckham Jr. This is actually one of the best classes of the decade when you go back and look pick for pick. Just an absolute stack powerhouse. But just to think, looking back, it's so easy, but it's kind of fun looking back to see that 12 teams passed on the potential of Aaron Donald coming out. Again, defensive tackles not necessarily valued as a high-end position, although they are.
Jeff Fisher knew, though. Jeff Fisher knew.
He knew it was
they had the 2 picks. They had the 2 picks to burn where, you know, they missed on Greg. Yep. That was rough, man. They thought Greg Robinson was going to be like the next like Orlando Pace for the Rams.
Yeah, they did.
And he turned out to be a bust.
If they could have got Taylor Lewan and Aaron Donald, oh my gosh.
Yeah, but Jeff Fisher, it was something. He had an uncanny way of knowing about defensive players. Like when he was the head coach for the Rams, they drafted really well on the defensive side of the ball. You know, offensively, I think it was like Tavon Austin and Sam Bradford and those guys. But like when you look at the defensive side of the ball, Aaron Donald was a home run, and he was so happy to have him. But even I don't think Jeff Fisher thought that he would get the type of production that he got from Aaron Donald that we've seen, him being just an overall game record. But you look at that, I'm an old school St. Louis Rams fan. It's funny to say old school, but yeah, it's been about 5 or 6 years now. But, Jeff Fisher drafted Aaron Donald, Janoris Jenkins, who's made a really good career in the NFL to this point. He drafted Tremaine Johnson, who was considered one of the top cornerbacks in the league at one point. I don't think he's in the NFL anymore, but like, very, very good at drafting guys. So Jeff Fisher, I think he's in the USFL right now, coaching those guys. But like, he had an eye for the defensive talent, and that was probably his best decision as a head coach when you talk about the draft.
There was a 2-3 year window there where not only did they draft those guys that you mentioned, but just in their front 7 and D-line alone, they had Michael Brockers was a first-round pick, Robert Quinn was a first-round pick, and Alec Ogletree mixed in with Aaron Donald. Just on paper, when you're just looking at early assets, man. Early draft picks used on those guys, absolutely unbelievable. And then again, you go back and think, and that's without the number 2 overall pick hitting, ended up being a bust in Greg Robinson. Can't imagine if they were to hit on that pick as well.
Dude, that defensive line was unreal. You had Chris Long, Michael Brockers. You had Chris Long. These are all first round picks. You had Chris Long, Michael Brockers, Aaron Donald, and Robert Quinn on that defensive line. Robert Quinn is probably also quietly creeping up towards a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah. I mean, that's video game. That's Madden. That's video game stuff. That's 4 first
and they still 7-9, 6-10, 8-8.
Baby. That's a Jeff Fisher trademark. 7-9 every year. 7-9.
That defense was mean, man. Wow.
Fun to go back and just kind of have a little flashback and look at. So easy to pick apart drafts 4, 5, 6 years down the road, but you never know at the time. That's what makes the draft so fun and exciting. All right, last one. What does it mean? The Colorado Avs completed the sweep of the Edmonton Oilers thanks to a goal in overtime to give them the 6-5 win. Now they got plenty of rest coming up. Big break, can take a breather. What does it mean for their path and chances at taking down the winner of the Lightning Rangers?
That was some epic lemon booty last night from the Oilers. Like, you thought, like, okay, they'll get this one, and maybe it'll be a bit of a gentleman's sweep. Yep. But like to lose the deficit like they did, and then to come back and then lose the game like that in OT, you got the analysts swearing on live TV last night. He couldn't even like contain himself. He just holy bleeped just right there on the live broadcast. It was after 10 o'clock, so maybe it was all cool, FCC rules or whatnot. But what was interesting about that is, like, this Avalanche team may be the best team in hockey left. And you thought, like, okay, like, as good as Vasi was playing in net for the Lightning, you're just like, man, look, good luck, with Stamkos, Kucherov, those guys doing it with the Lightning. You're like, man, this team is probably going to win the Stanley Cup again. Give it to them again. But then you look at this Avalanche team, man. Whew. Like, to be able to overcome a deficit like that and then just kind of pour it on. They're like the Warriors of the NHL playoffs right now. They kind of just cook you up, and then you're just left looking like, dang, man, like, what just happened? Like, they start the microwave, and then all of a sudden you find out that you're the one that got burned. You got overcooked. We're the popcorn that got left in the microwave for a little bit too long, and now the house is all funky. You're just like, oh, let me open a window in here, But, like, I don't see how any team is beating the Avalanche moving forward. Like, it's the Denny Green. If you want to crown them, then crown them. But they are who we thought they were. But
let them off the hook.
I think the Avalanche is who we think they is.
No doubt.
And I'm interested to see whether or not they're the team that's hoisting up that trophy come 2.5 weeks from now.
Yeah, Avs have had some really good teams over the last 2 decades, but haven't been to the Cup since 2001. It's been 21 years. Again, they get this nice big long break, just like we saw the Warriors get in the series prior to this too.
Just like they got in round 1 too.
That's right. As they watched the Celtics and Heat battle it out. Rangers are up 2-1 on the Lightning. They play Game 4 tomorrow.
That might go 7.
It might. Yeah, you're definitely right about that.